So good afternoon, everyone. I am Renee Savoy from the Connecticut State Department of Education. Welcome to our first Behind the Numbers of 24-25 from Data to Dashboards. Today, we're going to be looking at our new dual credit dashboard. And the person who's going to lead us through that today is my colleague, Danielle Bousquet, who is on the line. She is really the everything behind this. She is data cleaning and looking at calculations and getting all these great visuals in place. So we're really lucky to have Danielle and all the hard work that she has put into this. If you've been to one of these Teams meetings before, you know the slides are set up so that yes, I'm driving the deck, but you can flip around from slide to slide while we're talking. And if you want to jump ahead and check things out, feel free to do that. The links on the pages should work. I want you to know that we will be sending around a link to the recording of this as well as the slide deck as soon as it's up and posted, and we'll send it to everyone who registered for the session. So you will get that too, and if you want to share it, please do share it broadly so more people are in the know about the different resources we have on EdSite. So first of all, today's session, we are going to do I'll do a little background on dual credit overview, and if I miss something, Danielle will let me know, remind me. Danielle's going to talk about the data collection. Where do these data come from, and what is the work that has to go into cleaning those data? I think it's good for you to have a handle on that background to understand when we look at the dashboard what the data sources are for all of this. And maybe you all can give us some insight into how you might use the dashboard in your district. I know I've had a few conversations with people about different questions that have come up around dual credit and what's offered and where is it offered and who are the partners. And I think the dashboard is going to be a really helpful tool in answering a lot of those types of questions. So dual credit overview. In 21-22, and Danielle will talk a little bit about this, 21-22 accountability, we expanded indicator 6 of the next generation accountability system. Initially, when we implemented the system, indicator 6 looked at the percentage of 11th and 12th graders who had met a particular benchmark score on SAT or ACT or AP or IB. And there was a really strong demand and expressed need from the field, from all of you, I'm sure, saying, we have got all of these students who are enrolled in dual credit courses and are demonstrating post-secondary readiness by earning college credit prior to graduation. Why is that not part of the accountability system? And so after many conversations and lots of advocacy from districts and from universities, we went ahead and incorporated that into the system for the first time with the 21-22 accountability report. So that would have been in fall of 22, we released that for the first time. Then in spring 2023, and actually in between those two time periods, so I want to say like winter 22-23, we started talking to districts on one hand and universities on the other to say, what are the challenges that you're encountering when considering expanding dual credit access for your students? And so we heard from both sides on what those challenges were. And what we tried to do was find ways, the best we can, as sort of the middleman here at the State Department of Ed, to break down some of those barriers. And so so part of doing that was districts were telling us, we just don't even know where to go to get the information. And so we created a dual credit opportunity site. And I'll put the link in the chat once Danielle starts presenting. And on that site, we have a lot of information about what our university partners, our IHEs, institutions of higher ed, are offering for school districts. And so that was one way to sort of get the word out about what is possible, and to then have an assigned contact for each IHE, a dual credit contact that districts could go to when they had questions. And so that was kind of like part one. And then we launched a dual credit expansion grant for districts in the spring of 2023. Those awards were made in September of 2023. And all of you have been working hard to expand access for students. So I know that districts have been buying additional equipment for, let's say, a manufacturing course that they want to offer. I saw a recent budget today was looking at some advanced oceanography course and the supplies they needed for that. And I think that many districts have talked a lot about being responsive to what students are saying they're interested in, to be a part of during high school, so that they have a real path to post-secondary, and create some relevance for students too in the coursework that they're engaged in their schools. So I think the dual credit grant that we awarded to districts has helped in that respect. At the same time, more recently, we've also launched a dual credit expansion grant for IHEs to support the work that they're doing with all of the districts. So that work is still underway. We continue to grow the dual credit opportunity site and try to spread the information as broadly as we can. If you are from a district, you may have participated in our dual credit community of practice meetings last year. All of those recordings and the resources are posted on the Dual Credit Opportunities page. So if you're new to this, that might be a good resource for you to fall back on. Also during the summer, we had something called a Quality Institute, which is about accreditation for universities who are offering dual credit opportunities in partnership with high schools, because there is that partnership has to be high quality, and the courses that are being offered have to be high quality. It's not just about expanding and getting more students enrolled, but about ensuring that the experiences that students have are going to earn them credits that are going to be worth something when they move on past high school. So that's a really long way of kind of giving you the overview of all of these different activities that are kind of all happening at the same time and continue in earnest in the 24-25 school year. So with that, I'll just check in with Danielle quickly to see anything important that I missed in the highlights of dual credit.
I don't think so. I think that was good. Thanks.
Okay, great. Ajit Gopalakrishnan, our Chief Performance Officer, is going to join us, but he did warn me that he would be a little late, so I won't be surprised if I see him pop in here while Danielle is giving us the lowdown on the new dashboard. So take it away, Danielle.
All right, thanks. So this
look at this. There's a whole slide about overview of dual credit.
You know. So the dual credit opportunities site that Renee was mentioning is linked at the bottom. There's a study that looks at the dual credit impacts, but this is the even higher level overview here. Just very, very basic. I think things that we probably, if you're on this call, you probably know already, but just describing what dual credit is and why it's so important to kids. Okay, so as Renee mentioned, the dual credit, I mean, it's been going on in your schools for a long time, but we added it to our accountability index in 2021-22 with the following caveats, I guess, or requirements. So in order for a course to be included in Indicator 6, the student has to have earned a grade of C or better. Because that, according to most of the IHE people we talk to, is sort of the threshold for transfer credit, right? Generally, it has to be a C or better. Only credit-bearing courses were considered. So if it's a 0 credit course, that didn't count. And the student has to have earned a total of 3 college credits across their entire high school career. So, they can take it in 9th grade, they can take it in 12th grade, you can take 3 different courses at 1 credit each and total them all up, as long as it's 3 total credits. And any college course that's considered remedial, so usually, courses that start with a 0, below your 101 courses, any courses that were audited or withdrawn or incomplete, or courses graded with pass-fail grades were not included, because in order to tell if it's a C or better, we need to have a grade. So with those requirements, we started adding it. So I included this because this is part of the history of how this dashboard came about, but I want to stress that the dual credit dashboard is not actually indicator 6 itself. So, when we're counting up course enrollments or things like that, they're not necessarily counted the exact same way that they are in indicator 6. Indicator 6 is based on, summing up of credits and things like that. We did not do any of that for here. So if you want more information on indicator 6, I've included some links. There's a link to the behind the numbers from, I want to say last year, maybe the year before, and the post-secondary readiness report, which actually contains your indicator 6 data, which so includes ACT, includes SAT, AP, and IB. So just want to make sure that it's based on this, but it's not exactly the same. Okay, so on the next slide, yeah. So the data that comes from this and the data we use for indicator 6 comes from a dual credit data collection that we have been running with our partners from our IHEs. So in order to be included in the dashboard or for indicator 6, the student has to have registered with one of the IHEs that's participating in the data collection. So not all of our IHEs that are offering dual credit courses are participating in this data collection. If you are working with an IHE and they are not listed here, please feel free to encourage them to join this data collection, and then that can get included here. Okay, so here are this is the data that the IHEs are going to send to us. File specifications linked here. So there's sort of 3 pieces to it. We have the student matching data, and that's how we match the student records from the IHEs to June PSIS, which is what we use for all of our demographic data and to make sure that they're actually enrolled in a public school. So they give us first name, middle name, last name, birth date, SASA, gender, and high school. And then the second group is our course, is the data about the course. So, which college it was taught at, the academic year, the term, fall or spring or summer or whatever, the course subject, the course code, and the course title. So the course subject sort of, I think of it as if it's a, Bio 101 general biology class, bio is going to be your course subject, 101 is your course code, and biology 1 would be your course title. And then the third category is sort of the course completion data. So that's where we have the official grade, where we can figure out the C or better, the credits earned, so we can total them up, and then the date that the grade was awarded. All right, so how do we use all of this? Next slide, please. So the data get matched to students in PSIS using what we call a probabilistic data matching algorithm, also known as fuzzy matching. And the idea is that, they give us first name, last name, date of birth, and we try to match that to a student in PSIS. That is not a perfect system. I always want to stress that. So the best way to ensure that every single one of your students gets matched is to have the IHE provide a SACID to us. Now, I know that not all the IHEs have that capacity. If you are an IHE, I would highly encourage you to try and figure out a way to get those in there, because it will ensure that you have the best match possible. It's also important that the student registers with the IHE using their full name as it appears in PSIS registration. So Joseph should register as Joseph, and because that if they register as Joe, it's going to turn in, it's much more difficult for the program to match it. And just a plea for the IHEs to not send us homeschooled or private high school data, because that makes it much more difficult to match our public school students. And this collection does not include homeschool or private high schools. So if that's something in your power, I will request it, because it does make it easier for us. And you can get the full, 3-page explanation in our report notes if you'd like. But just some common data matching issues that we want to think about. The most common is obviously the name or the birth date are just, entered incorrectly. You've got a typo. Like I said, nicknames are a really big problem, especially those that change the spelling of the name. So like Abraham or Brianna becoming Bree or Abe, because that third letter gets changed, it actually creates a big problem in the matching algorithm. So if they can use their whole name, it's super helpful. The order of names. So if you've got students with hyphenated names, you'll get, John Smith Doe or John Doe Smith. These will not necessarily match each other. And the same thing if one of those names is missing, especially if it's that first name, right? So John Smith Doe is looking for John Smith Doe. If it finds John Smith, it might match. But if it finds John Doe, it probably won't. So it's just something to keep in mind there. Switched first, middle, and last names. So if people are using their middle name as their first name, then it's not going to match what we have. Name changes are a big one. So students who are who actually, either change their last name, maybe their parents get married, or change their first name for whatever reason, creates a big problem. Switched months and days in the birth date. So April 5th is 4/5, and then May 4th is 5/4. So records like this will not match. And if the current year is used in the birth date, I know it's one of those things you're so used to writing the same date every time, or the same year, and so you forget to write your birth year instead of the current year. So all of these things, if when you're helping your students to register with the IHE, you can make sure that they check and double check, triple check. It will help guarantee that those students will get matched. We do our best after the probabilistic matching to do some hand matching. We do pick up probably 500 kids or so, but it is definitely not a guarantee, and it's not the fastest process for us either. So it takes us a little bit longer. So but once we get all of the students matched and we match it to June PSIS, we've got about an 88% match rate right now. So we're doing okay. And of course that includes, private school students who get who can't match because they're not public school students. So it's not that we're missing 12% of kids. There's just 12% of records come in that don't get matched. Okay, so once we've done all that, then we look at the course data, that Bio 101 that we talked about. So one of the things that we felt really strongly about is we wanted the dashboard user to be able to look at sort of a group of courses. So I want to look at all the math courses, or I want to look at all the science courses, or whatever. And we debated for a while on how to classify them. Unfortunately, there is no sort of higher education classification system. So of course the math courses will come in from one place as math, the next one as MA, the next one as MTH, the next one as M, right? So everyone sort of has their own program codes, their own systems of doing that. And then it gets even more complicated when you get down into things. Math is pretty standard. Most colleges and universities are going to call their math department mathematics. But when things like communication and audiovisual technology have a different name in every university. A lot of these groups are, you'll have multiple course programs that kind of combine. If we used everybody's, we'd have 1,000 course programs. So we decided to stick with the school courses for the exchange of data, which is SCED. It's a classification system first created by the National Forum on Education Statistics. And it's a classification system that we use in Connecticut and lots of other states use in the K-12 course reporting. And while these are college courses, they are courses taken by students who are K-12. And so it allows us to kind of have consistency with our other EdSite reports and to group things into smaller buckets so that we can look at them and be consistent across all of the course areas. So we did our best to put all of the courses into one of these buckets. So this is one of the ways that you can filter it, filter the dashboard when we get there. So then the other fun task that we had is that course titles, when they come in from the IHEs, these are often course abbreviations, or they're not sort of the full pretty course title that you would see, for instance, at the top of a syllabus, right? So, and they weren't necessarily consistent across different sections within the college or things like that. So just depending on how it gets put into your system and then gets sent to us. So we decided that we needed to have at least a somewhat standardized course naming system, but within each IHE. So so we did not attempt to create or to put courses into sort of very specific course numbers or course codes and match them across universities. So Calculus 3 at one college may be different than, Calculus 3 at another college. Some college might call it, Calculus 3 multivariate, right? These are all different systems. So we only standardized within college. So each college has standardized titles, but not across them. So, so like I said, you want to keep in mind that two courses with the same content might have different course titles. So like I said, Calculus 3 and Calculus 3 multivariate probably had the same content, but they have different titles, so they won't get joined in the report. But at the same time, the opposite is also true. So you could have two courses with the exact same name, and they might contain different content. So we did not attempt to discern any of that. That is, we just kept it at the college level. So some changes that we made, simple changes, we removed abbreviations. So intro psych became introduction to psychology, and things like that. Title case, because in computer language, manufacturing basics with a lowercase b is not the same as manufacturing basics with an uppercase b. So just changing that. All course sequences were changed to Roman numerals. So, Calculus 2 becomes Calculus II with Roman numerals. And then we removed any sort of extraneous characters. So, things that came in with an asterisk at the beginning, or there were a lot of courses that had sort of like dates or start times or things like that to distinguish it maybe from another section. So we removed all of that as well. So hopefully your titles reflect what you want them to reflect, but are just look a little bit better and join to each other a little bit easier. And then on our next slide, we went through the data to make sure that each full course code, so Bio 101, matched to one and only one course title. So we didn't want to have Bio 101 going to biology and Bio 101 going to general biology, right? We want them to have the exact same course title across all of them. So the first thing we did, cross-listed courses. So courses that are offered under two different course codes, but they're the same class, were standardized so that all records were in the same department. And we chose the department using our SCED code system. So for example, art history appeared in one of the colleges as Art 103 and also as History 103, which kind of makes sense, right? It's art history. If you look up art history in our SCED codes, art history falls into the arts cluster, cluster 5. And so we chose art 103 rather than history 103 because that's where it falls in the SCED code. So we did that. We had lab and lecture sections. So if they had unique course codes, then we made them unique. We left them as unique courses. So if you have a Chem 101 or 161 is general chemistry, but chemistry 162 is general chemistry lab, they have different course codes. So they were left as 2 separate courses. If they were the same course, but just had different titles, so, Bio 103, General Biology 1 lecture, and then Bio 103, General Biology 1 lab, those were considered a single course because they have the same course numbers. So they were just combined into Bio 103, General Biology 1 with no lab or lecture attached. And that was, see the next slide. Okay, so that's basically it. So once we had done all that, we pulled it together into this dashboard. So I will pull it up and walk you through it because this is the fun part, really, right? We don't.
I'll stop sharing. I mean, it doesn't seem like you have to do much work to get this dashboard together. It seems pretty easy, Danielle.
No, it's super easy. There's no. I'm very, very thankful for especially one of my team members, Phil Gillette, who helps me with a lot of these, and we spend a lot of time with the hand matching and the course title, so it's interesting. Okay, here we go.
Looks good.
So I think this. Well, I'm making the wrong screen smaller. There we go. So here is the dashboard. If you are anything like me and you cannot remember, you lose the URL and you lose the slides as soon as you watch the thing. You can get to it just by going to EdSite and then going to instruction and dual credit, and you'll get there here. So here's, I think, some of the similar information to what I had at the beginning of the slides. And then we get to the report. So there's 5 filters and then lots of different options you can use. So these shouldn't seem that strange. I think this is the district that the student attends, the school district. This is the high school that the student attends. College sector is we've sort of created groups. So Connecticut State Universities. So this is the Central, Eastern, Southern, Northwestern. Is that right? I always get them mixed up with others. But the four main college, the 4 main CSUs. CT State Community College. That's all of what used to be all of the community colleges now combined into CT State. Then private colleges and universities, and the University of Connecticut gets their own group because they're just that cool. And then from there, you've got the specific colleges and universities you can filter by. And then these are the subjects that we were talking about. So these are all of your, all of the sort of buckets that we put the courses into. So, so you can use any of these to filter. So maybe I want to filter on, I want to look at CT State, right? So all of these are going to change. And now if we looked before, University of Connecticut was the largest one. We see, lots of UConn courses because, of course, they are our largest dual credit partner. But when we change this down to CT State, we can see, more information about what CT State is doing, and kind of filter from there. So lots of chances to drill all the way down to as small a sample as you want. So as detailed as you want. Just to note, if you see this orange, not dot, square rectangle? That's just there to let you know that a filter has been applied. So if that, I find it helpful. Sometimes I'm looking at them like, wait, I don't see UConn anywhere. Oh, right. Check my filters. It's something there. And to remove the filter, just clear filter. So if I want to know what the top, let's say math courses, I was a math teacher, so that's always my favorite. I can select math, and these are the top 10 courses being offered, and the number of students in it. And you can, right now it's shrunk a little bit, but if you just hover over it, you can see the whole name of the course. So it's kind of fun that way. You can switch, you can see different school years here. So if I want to compare 2021 to 2020, or 2022-23 to 2021-22, I can see, same elementary concept of statistics class, right? So lots of things to do here. All of these have hovers if you want to see the specific data behind it, which is great. See, I call it great. It's my dashboard, so I get to call everything great. Okay, so if you've seen everything here, this is the larger dashboard. You can look at the data itself. So all of these filters are will translate. So if I select math on the summary report, that is still going to get applied when I go into this into the interactive data. So you don't need to reset these. And in here, you can break it down by almost anything you want. So you've got district, high school, course, college sector, university. So those are the ones that we had up here. And then you also have your demographic breakdowns. So English learners, free reduced price meals, gender, grade, high needs, race, ethnicity, and special education status. So the way I like to think of this is that your variables are the things that you want to sort of break things into, and your filters are things that you only want to see that one piece. And I think between the filters and the variables, you can really get some interesting comparisons. So for example, if I want to look at, I can say, okay, by college and university, I want to look at the courses they offer. That might have been a bad choice because that's going to be huge. We'll be here all day. Say by gender. And then I want to look at the subject within it. So you can really break it down as far as you want. And then once you've selected the variables you're interested in, right, these are sort of the things you're going to compare across. Now I can say, well, actually, I don't want all of the colleges. I just want the CT state colleges, right? So now we're still going to be comparing by college if you see variable 1, but you're only comparing those colleges that are part of the CT State Community College. So it kind of helps you to sort of limit what you're looking at, to limit your fields of view here. So that's lots of different ways. And then of course, once you get this table to look exactly the way you want it and have the most, your exact setup. And this also, I forgot to mention, this looks across time. So you can compare 2018 through 2022-23. And then you can export it to Excel and you can manipulate the data to your heart's content. So I think it provides a really powerful way to compare between schools or compare colleges or see what everyone else is doing. And then our last.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nope.
I was going to say there are a couple of questions. I didn't know if this was a good time to sort of interject them.
Please.
So Dave from East Lyme asked about comparing his school to others in the state in terms of percentage of students taking advantage of dual enrollment. And I know that Ajit responded that the post-secondary readiness report that looks at indicator 6 can look at the percentage of kids, percentage of students that are earning 3 or more college credits prior to graduation. But I wonder, if I think this report can do something similar as well, right? Not the indicator 6 measure, like you said, but courses completed by district.
Yes.
Okay.
So we don't in here have anything. It's not going to give you a percentage.
Right.
So you would have to look up the enrollment and kind of do that division yourself. But we can, if we go to if we select district here, you can see all of the districts and compare them that way. So here you end up with lots of, because I haven't selected variables here, so you end up with lots of subtotals that are the same. But yeah, so you can, if you select district, and you can select district and then high school, so then you can compare districts, or you can compare the high schools in those districts.
Right. I had forgotten that the enrollment's not here, but we have enrollment in other
Yes.
in other reports, so they could be combined. And I think your point about exporting to Excel is a good one. If there are people on the line who haven't played with the dashboard much, I find the Excel so much easier to sort of view and to use and manipulate and get the kinds of tables that I'm looking for. So I think that's a good recommendation to click on that Excel button. Then the other question we had was, when will we see 23, 24 data populated in this dashboard? What is the timeline for that approximately? I know we don't have a hard date.
That is actually the project I've been working on right now. So we are sort of we're in that course title student matching section of our discussion today. So we are nearly done with student matching. The course titles have been completed. So I would say within a few weeks for sure. I don't want to like put a more exact date than that and then have everyone be disappointed.
It's coming.
It's coming. I
sooner
promise.
rather than later.
Yes, for sure. The next couple of weeks.
I'll let you continue because I know I interrupted you, but as questions, pop up, we will get to them. So please put them in the chat.
Yeah, and feel free to interrupt at will. This is not a formal run through here. So the last thing I wanted to show you guys is this search course list. So in here, and again, this is going to be subject to whatever filters you've put up here. So if you want everybody, just change that so that we have everything. And here you can search by whatever you'd like. So maybe I'm interested in all the chemistry classes that were offered. I can put in chem, and it's going to bring up a list of all of the so college sector by college, university, course code, course title, all the way out. If you keep scrolling, all the way out to the district and the high school that offered it. So if you're interested in, hey, I wonder, who else is teaching, general chemistry 1? Well, I've got a list that you can search here. And and then you can also see, okay, which schools are partnering for chemistry classes. So who can I talk to, who's close to me that I can reach out and have a partnership with. Then you can add as many school years here as you want. So it's not one school year at a time, but yeah. So I don't have much else to say about this. I think it's powerful, but it's not hard to explain. I feel like whenever it's short to explain, I always feel like it must not be important if it's short to explain, but I think it's easy enough to understand. So hopefully, and if it's not, ask a question. I'm happy to answer. And that's all I had for the report. But I don't know if Renee or Ajit wanted to add anything else.
So Seth just asked a question. Is there a way to add a cohort variable?
Cohort as in like a graduating class? I'm gonna
I'm assuming
assume
that's
that.
what Seth is referring to, and I don't
Excellent.
think that it works that way. It's just the school year, correct?
It doesn't, but you can get to it if you look at, for example, we do have grade in here, right? So
Okay.
you can look at the yeah, this is going to take a while because the district by high school means it's got a lot of data to go through, um, but you can use I think a combination of the school year, of the academic year, and their grade to get a cohort. So it's not cohort like adjusted cohort, it's just, but it is sort of where they are in school. So it's close. I hope that helps.
That's great because I mean, I've played with this and I wouldn't have known that answer off the top of my head. I would have had to play a little. So thanks for answering the question, Seth. That's a good example of another way the tool can be used. Any other questions or comments? Feel free to put them in the chat. And also, if you raise your hand, if you want to sort of give voice to your question, I believe I can unmute you or I can try. So feel free to raise your hand if that's something you want to do. I can give you an example of a way I used the dashboard recently. I have a friend who is a high school teacher and was looking at changing their personal finance course to one that is a dual credit course. And so she asked me, she's like, any idea, which IHEs are out there to partner with for this sort of work? And I was able to do a quick course search, come up with a list of IHEs and see who their partners are. And it might be the case that she knows someone in one of those districts that she could chat with. Or another resource that you could combine with this is our post-secondary readiness lead listing that is also available through EdSite in the Find Contacts report. I know we've got some post-secondary readiness leads on the call today. A lot of times districts have more than one person serving in that role, but those are really good people to connect with who can speak to how they partnered, how the partnership is working out, maybe what they had to go through to establish that partnership. So I think this dashboard in connection with other pieces of information on EdSite can be a really useful set of tools. Give you another minute for questions if there's any to pose. And we gave Ajit the opportunity to talk to the group. We'll give it one more time in case he wants to say a few words.
No, just to say thanks to everyone for jumping on. And I wondered, Renee, if we can, I don't know, we've told them that they can also raise their hand, right? If they want to ask the question
Yep.
orally. And we can even unmute folks too. So, so if you would like to ask an audio, question on audio, please let us, please raise your hand and you'll be able to unmute yourself and ask a question. I recognize several names in the meeting. That's great. Great to see all of you here.
Okay, it doesn't look like we're getting any takers.
Teacher wait time is done. It seems like we can let Danielle go back to wrapping up the 23-24 data, which everyone is super anxious about. And thanks, Julie, for that comment from University of Bridgeport. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think we feel like the power when you get down to this granular data is to actually see the kinds of programming that schools are providing to districts. And as I think Renee and Danielle have been saying, you can then talk to each other to see, hey, what are you doing? Because when I'm not going to call out individual districts, but there are districts that are small districts that have partnerships with IHEs on the other side of the state. So it amazes us, like how certain districts are able to pull off those types of partnerships and with their IHE partners. So it does take a bunch of legwork and phone calls and collaboration, but I think the sky is the limit. It's a universe of opportunities. It's all our or the sky is not the limit. I should have said it that way. So yeah, lots of different possibilities. So we appreciate the work that you're doing to jump on, and thank you for joining. And I'm sure we'll see you again somewhere behind the numbers.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Renee, for doing a great job.
Thanks, everyone.